everybody! Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up. I read 7 books in May, which is pretty good. I didn't complete the Asian readathon, which I'm low-key upset about, but there's always next year. And I can just read Asian books the entire year. I don't need to keep it only in May. So the first 2 books that I read in May were 8 and 9 of the Saga series, so the last 2. If you haven't heard of Saga, it is a sci-fi adult comic series. It's very violent and very adult. I really enjoyed those. For some reason, I thought that 9 was the last one and that was the finale. I wasn't expecting it to be a cliffhanger. I thought that that was the end of the series. That very much shocked me. I just got into Saga. I'm just reading these for the first time this year. I really like how all the stories intertwine. I wish that the last 2 had more Gwendolyn and Sophie. I really liked that storyline, and I just wish there was more of them. The next book that I read in May was a memoir. It was Over the Top by Jonathan Van Ness. If you don't know who Jonathan Van Ness is, they are a reality star. They were on the Netflix show Queer Eye. It's still on, actually. So they just talked about their life and everything that happened to them, and they're a fan favorite, I'm pretty sure. My favorite Queer Eye guy is Bobby, but most people say Jonathan when I ask them. It was very interesting to hear about their life and all their challenges. They had a really, really upsetting life, which is not what I would have thought because of their bubbly and super comforting and nice personality. And it was also a little interesting to see how the Queer Eye guys met and how the show was being brought together and stuff like that. I totally recommend if you're a fan of Queer Eye or if you're a fan of memoirs. The next book that I read in May was actually the only thing that was on my Asian Readathon TBR, and that was Almost American Girl by Robin Ha. So this is a graphic memoir about a girl named Robin who came from Korea and moved to the US, and what it was like assimilating and being Korean and being American. I don't have this book or the 2 Saga books because I got them from the library and I returned them. I really liked Almost American Girl. I remember I finished it the day before Mother's Day, and then I was talking to my mom and I was like, this is such a great book, you should read it. Whoa, this is so interesting. Whoa, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know anything about Korea. I didn't know anything about being alive in the 90s because I wasn't. It's really good. I'm not really a memoir fan except for that one memoir that I just read. So if you're not really a memoir fan, maybe graphic memoirs are your way to go. Another graphic memoir that I really like is Smile by Raina Telgemeier. That's a middle grade memoir, and it's much easier to swallow than reading normal memoirs for adults. The 4th book that I read in May was Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. I already made 3 videos about this book. I loved it. It is a YA contemporary about a girl who needs a happily ever after. I already talked about it a lot, so. The 4th book that I read is If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin. This is an adult literary fiction. The prose is beautiful, the way that it's written and how the whole thing takes place over 2 days, but it doesn't feel like it's 2 days because there are so many flashbacks and so many changing scenes. It's just really, really well done. I understand why this is a classic and why James Baldwin is a classic author. But I didn't really understand the ending. I was listening to the audiobook just to make time go faster, and I didn't really understand the ending, so I thought I would watch the movie, and then I couldn't really get through the movie. I think that since the writing in the book is so lyrical and has so many cutbacks to so many different scenes and timelines, it's really well done. But when that happens in a movie, it's kind of difficult to watch because, where am I now? Is this the past? Is this the present? Who's this? What are they doing? Why is this important to the story? That was kind of happening for me. And so I never got to the ending, and I will probably never understand the ending unless I finish that movie. And the last book that I read in May is King and the Dragonflies by Kaysen Callender. I didn't really know what to expect with this book. It is a middle grade, or is middle grade literary a thing? It kind of reminded me of a fairy tale. Yeah, so this is about a boy named King, and one of his friends goes missing, and the whole town is searching for that friend. I would say it's very character driven. Also, his brother recently passed away, and he's convinced that his brother turned into a dragonfly. A really good middle grade if you're into a middle grade that has sort of a mystical fantasy feeling. It doesn't feel like a contemporary, like, kid goes to school and has fun with his friends. It feels different from that. And lastly, my ratings. So I gave the 2 Saga books 5 stars. I gave Over the Top 5 stars. I gave Almost American Girl 5 stars. I gave Happily Ever's 5 stars. I gave If Beale Street Could Talk 3 stars, and King and the Dragonfly 4 stars. So overall, pretty good reading month, if I do say so myself. Thank you for watching. New videos every Wednesday and sometimes Sundays, I promise.